Module 8, dot. Organizational conflict and negotiation. Module overview. Conflict and negotiation are inevitable aspects of organizational life. Regardless of the size, structure, or industry of an organization, conflict emerges when individuals or groups perceive incompatible goals, scarce resources, or interference in achieving objectives. Contrary to common belief, conflict is not inherently negative. It can either be destructive or a constructive force that drives innovation, deeper understanding, and improved performance. Similarly, negotiation is a critical managerial skill used to manage conflict, secure agreements, and achieve desired outcomes without coercion. It is both an art and a science that requires emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, effective communication, and cultural awareness. This module delves into the theoretical foundations, causes, types, consequences, and management of conflict, along with principles, stages, and strategies for effective negotiation. It prepares you to not only cope with, but leverage conflict and negotiation as instruments for individual growth, team cohesion, and organizational transformation. Learning objectives. By the end of this module, you will be able to define and differentiate between conflict and negotiation within organizational contexts. Identify the various types, sources, and levels of organizational conflict. Understand the functional and dysfunctional outcomes of conflict. Analyze conflict resolution styles and frameworks. Examine the stages and dynamics of negotiation processes. Apply conflict management and negotiation strategies to real-life organizational scenarios. Evaluate cross-cultural and ethical considerations in negotiation. Develop interpersonal and managerial competence in managing workplace disputes. Section 1.0. Understanding organizational conflict. Conflict refers to a process that begins when one party perceives that another party has negatively affected or is about to negatively affect something that the first party cares about. It arises from a period. Differences in values, goals, or perceptions. Competition over limited resources. Time, money, power, recognition. Communication breakdowns, interpersonal tensions. Role ambiguity or overlapping responsibilities. Section 2, Types of conflict in organizations. By nature. Task conflict. Related to content and goals of work. Relationship conflict. Based on interpersonal incompatibility, process conflict. Disagreements on how work is accomplished. By levels. Intrapersonal conflict. Within an individual, e.g., role conflict. Interpersonal conflict. Between individuals. Intragroup conflict. Within a team or department, intergroup conflict. Between teams, departments, or divisions. Organizational conflict. Between employee and organization or across hierarchical levels. Section 3, Functional versus dysfunctional conflict. Type characteristics. Outcomes. Functional. Encourages debate, stimulates creativity, leads to better decisions, innovation. Dysfunctional. Hostile, unproductive, emotionally charged. Leads to reduced morale, absenteeism, turnover. Not all conflict is bad. Managed well, functional conflict can foster engagement, critical thinking, and growth. Left unresolved or mismanaged, dysfunctional conflict erodes trust, morale, and performance. Section 4, Sources of conflict. Structural sources. Interdependence of work. Limited resources. Departmentalization. Hierarchical levels. Personal sources. Differing personalities. Emotional intelligence. Attitudes and biases. Miscommunication. Organizational change. New leadership, technologies, or policies can disrupt the status quo. Power and politics. Struggles for influence and control over decisions. Section 5, Conflict resolution approaches. Thomas Kilmann model. Style. Description. When to use. Avoiding. Withdraw from the conflict. Delay. When issue is trivial or emotions are high. Accommodating, satisfy others' needs at your own expense. To maintain harmony, or when the other party has a better solution. Competing. Pursue own goals at the expense of others, in emergencies or for vital issues. Compromising. Each party gives up something to reach a middle ground. When time is limited or equal power exists, collaborating, work together to find a win-win solution for complex issues requiring mutual ownership. Section 6. Colon. Conflict management strategies. Clarifying expectations and roles, improving communication channels, training in emotional intelligence, revising organizational structures or policies, using third-party mediators or arbitrators, creating a culture of psychological safety and feedback. Section 7: Introduction to organizational negotiation. Negotiation is a mutual discussion and arrangement of the terms of a transaction or agreement. In organizations, negotiation occurs in periods: salary and promotion discussions, conflict resolutions, project resources, allocation vendor and supplier contracts, leadership and strategic alliances. It involves two or more parties who have both common and conflicting interests, are willing to communicate. Seek a mutually acceptable outcome. Section 8. The negotiation process, 5 stages. Preparation and planning. Identify objectives, stakeholders, alternatives. Beitina, walkaway points. Gather facts and anticipate counterarguments. Definition of ground rules. Decide on protocols, location, timing, and negotiation style. Agree on what will be negotiated. Clarification and justification. Each party presents their case. Back positions with logic, data, precedents, bargaining, and problem solving. Propose offers and counteroffers. Explore trade-offs and concessions. Aim for integrative, win-win, or distributive, win-lose outcomes. Closure and implementation. Formalize agreements, written or verbal. Ensure follow-through and accountability. Section 9: Types of negotiation. Distributive negotiation, zero sum. One party's gain is the other party's loss. Focused on dividing a fixed pie. Competitive short-term orientation. Integrative negotiation, win-win. Collaborative interest-based expands the pie before dividing it. Builds long-term relationships. Section 10: Cultural and ethical dimensions in negotiation. Cultural norms influence. Communication styles, direct versus indirect. Attitudes toward hierarchy and authority. Time orientation, linear versus cyclical. Risk tolerance, and decision-making pace. Ethical concerns in negotiation include misrepresentation, concealing key information, manipulation or pressure, failing to honor agreements. Skilled negotiators are culturally intelligent and ethically grounded. Section 11: Improving conflict and negotiation skills. Develop active listening and empathy. Increase self-awareness and emotional control. Understand interest behind positions. Practice role-play and scenario analysis. Use objective criteria for decision-making. Document and review previous negotiation outcomes. This module has come to an end.